welcome back everyone to the brand new episode of the Code Raw. And today we're going to see the properties of float, opacity, as an index. So let's get started with float property first. The float property is a very interesting property which is used for positioning and formatting the content. Basically, it helps in aligning the content left or right. Now keep in mind that float can only be used to position elements and not text. So if you want to align text, we can use the property called text-align. So let's make a paragraph and let's see how float and text-align work at once. So let's open our folder in Visual Studio Code first. Now what we're going to do is, in our index file, we'll make a paragraph tag here and we'll give it a class of align rr. So we're going to make four classes like this. So first one is rr, which means right aligned and right aligned text, and then we'll make an rl, which will be right aligned and left aligned text, then an lr, which will be left aligned element and right aligned text, and then ll, which will be left aligned element and left aligned text. So let's make these paragraphs. Now we're just going to write this is left. Okay, so it is right align paragraph which has right align text. Okay, now we'll hit save and let's go to style and add our class align rr. Here we'll add our first property float, right? So float is basically for aligning the paragraph in left or right. So we'll first try with right and then text align of right. Now when we hit save and run, we can see that our paragraph is right aligned. It is floating on right side of the page and the text is also right aligned. So let's add a width also here of 20 pixels so it can be more clear that the text is right aligned, because if we don't set a width, the width will be auto and it will be hard to figure out if the text is aligned left or right. So let's add rest classes here. Okay, so we need four classes and this one is going to be rl, this one is going to be lr, and this one is going to be ll, and we'll be copying the class from here and we'll be changing the float and text align. So let's go to our second class rl, and our float is going to be right and text align is going to be left. After this we'll have our lr, in which our float is going to be left and text align is going to be right, yeah. And after that we have ll, in which our float is going to be left and text is going to be left too. And when we hit save, you can see that we have four paragraphs which are greatly messing up. So let's add line breaks between these. So now, even though it's still a mess, but we can now figure it out that the first paragraph, this one, is our class, is the paragraph which has the class of LR. It is left aligned and has the right aligned text, and we need to change the text also here. So let's change it. Okay, so this one is going to be left. This is going to be right. So this is about the text and this is about the paragraph. So both the paragraphs in the bottom are going to be left aligned. And there we go. So this is the left aligned paragraph which is the right aligned text. And after this, this is the left aligned paragraph which has left aligned text. Now this is the right aligned paragraph which is left aligned text, and there is the right aligned paragraph which has right aligned text. So these are the so this is how you use text align and float. This is the difference between each of them. We actually discussed text align in the previous video, and to add more to that, let's just create a class of let's just add classes in which we just discuss the text align and how that works. So let's add a few more paragraphs and we'll give them classes of TA. So we have already seen right and left aligned text, so we have just two more to cover, which is center and justified. So let's add this paragraph here and say this is a centrally aligned paragraph and now we will create the next paragraph. So again, let's add this class here, EA center, and now we'll copy these properties from here. We'll paste it here, but we don't need float now, so we'll remove float, and text align should be center. So let's go down here and add some line breaks. So this is a centrally aligned paragraph, as you can see, and it is not, and it is centrally aligned in the sense that the width of the paragraph is just 200 pixels. If we set the width to auto, you can see that it goes upwards from there. So let's just set this width as 200 pixels, and at last we need a class of justified. So we'll say the class name as TA justified, text align justified, and we'll set its alignment as justified. And now we'll just copy this paragraph from here and we'll add the class here. So it is going to be justifiedly aligned. So our text is aligned justified. Now we hit save and you can see the difference between centrally aligned and left aligned text justified. And when we hit save, you can see the difference between the centrally aligned text and the justified aligned text. So the thing is that in centrally aligned text, all the text gets placed from the center, but in justified aligned, it starts from left but tries to be of the same width, so it looks like it's centrally aligned, but it's not. So this was the difference between center and justified, and this was all about float property using CSS. Now, second property which we want to discuss today is opacity. So opacity is a property using which we can set the transparency of an element. So let's make a few divisions here, and we'll add a lots of breaks here because we don't want the divisions to be overlapped by the text which we made out of. So let's make our division and let's add a class of. So we're going to make three classes. The first one is going to be opaque, the second one is going to be translucent, and the third one is going to be transparent. So we're going to see all of these in a single div. So first of all, an opaque class, and I don't want to write anything in it. We just want to set a height, width, and a background color to these classes. So let's go to our style tag here and we'll add a class of opaque. Now let's set a width of, we're going to be making a square division, so we'll be using 200 pixels for both our height and width, and we'll display it in block. So this one is the opaque thing. Okay, we need to add a background or else we won't be able to see that. So let's add a background here, and background of black. So this is the first division, the opaque division. Now I think that we should make it inline block instead of just block, so all of these come in the same line. So let's say it is a inline block. Now second thing we want to do is we want to make a translucent division. So without giving any BR, let's make a translucent division. Okay, so I guess the spelling is right. If not, you can check the spelling and just try to keep the spellings right. So actually spelling is not important, and the thing is that the name which we gave here for classes, it should be same as the properties you want to call in the above style tag. So just keep that in mind, and let's add properties to our translucent. So we're just going to copy this, and we actually had to forget this property called opacity. So let's add an opacity of 1. So adding opacity of 1 won't even matter because by default opacity is 1 for most of the elements. Now let's add our class translucent here, and I'm still confused for the spelling. Just I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set a opacity of 0.5 here. So you can see that this division is somewhat more lighter in color. So what's happening is it's translucent, and what's happening is that it's fetching the white background through it. So it's just like a frosted glass. So this is how we set its opacity. Now this one is translucent, and now we'll make our third class, and this is going to be transparent. And I don't think I am misspelling transparent anyway. So let's just add a class of transparent over here. And first of all, let's set its opacity to 0.5, and now we'll change it to 0. So when we set opacity 0, it means that there should be total visibility, and due to that our background is visible and the black color is not visible at all. So this was the transparent division. So these are the things you can make using opaque, translucent, and transparent effects using opacity. So if we add a background before that the division instead of this white background, it will actually look even more better. So try doing that. Just add any other background instead of a color. Let's just try a image instead of a white background and set the translucent property there. It will be really good. Now this was how to use opacity to style our elements, and we're going to discuss z-index. So z-index is the third and final property for today, and z-index is a property which is used to stack elements one above the other. So basically what happens is when you look at a screen, you can just see height and width of the page, right? But there's also the z-index which maintains, which specifies which element is going to be stacked up higher, which is going to be nearer to the screen level. So it's basically like which element will overlap which element. So we know that background always has a lower z index because it has to be in back, and foreground is normally the higher one. And this is the way z index works. So we can actually set z index for two paragraphs, and we can see that the divisions are overlapping each other with the z index with higher value going on top. So let's add some breaks here, and actually we can use our translucent effect here to see it in a great way. So two breaks might be enough, and let's add two divisions again. Division class of let's say lower, because we'll have its z index set as lower, and division of class higher because its z index is going to be higher. Now let's add an image here, and we won't be adding an image here. It's just going to be this division. So let me add the source here, and we've actually already added the image, which is graphics.jpg. And when we hit save, you can see that the image is taking a whole lot more space because the image is really big in size. So we'll be styling this image too. So let's add a class of, actually don't need a class because there's only one image in the whole section. So first we're going to style the lower, and the lower class will have a width of 300 pixels and the height of again 300 pixels. We want this to be square. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set its position as absolute, and we're going to set an opacity. Oh, actually we don't need opacity. We'll just set its z index as let's say 3. Now lower z index file will always be in the lower will always be overlapped by the by the element having more z index. So first of all, let's style the image. Lower space img. This is the query selector for styling the element inside of the division. Now what do we want to set its width as 100%, because you don't want it to take more than what is required, and the height as again 100%. So this image is a little bit stretched out, as you can see, but it should not matter to us. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add our class hi over here, and we're going to copy these properties from here. Actually, let's just copy these properties. Now what we're going to do is we're going to increase its set index by 4. Our position is already absolute, and when we hit save, you can see there's no change in the paragraph already. So let's add a background of gray. So let's add a background of AAA here, and you can see now that the higher overall z index is actually overlapping the lower overall z index. Now because the z index of higher is 4 and the z index of lower is 3, so now as I said, we can make this frosted bar, frosted glass like property. So to do that, we just have to add an opacity and set its opacity as less than 0.5, and now you have this filter kind of effect, and you can change this color to whatever you want to do, and you'll get another kind of filter. So this is how you add this frosted glass type of style to your page, or actually filters also. Now this was how you can use z-index to position the elements and stacking the elements one over the other. And now you might actually know that the element having the higher z-index is going to be on the top of the element having lower index. And this is where we'll wrap our video today, and I hope you liked the video. Thumbs up if you liked the video, and subscribe to the channel if you loved it. I'll see you on the next episode of the Code Drop. Bye for now.